After a terrible free agency, I think it's finally time that the Lakers abandon their championship hopes and go towards a rebuild. Let's talk about it. The Lakers had a pretty bad free agency, to say the least. I mean, it was terrible. They missed out on virtually every big name that was on the market. If we're looking at it, DeJounte Murray was linked to them even last season at the trade deadline and all through the offseason, and he got traded to the Pelicans. They weren't able to land a DeMar DeRozan, who ended up going to the Sacramento Kings. Lauri Markkanen, who I know they were interested in, and maybe that could still happen, but I doubt it with the assets the Lakers have. The Lakers struck out on every name that was linked to them. And the Lakers are one of those teams where, you would think everybody wants to play in LA. You want to play with the Lakers, you want to play with LeBron, you want to play in LA, you want to play with Anthony Davis, and it might not be the case anymore, which is kind of scary if you're a Lakers fan. I think it's also important to look at small pieces that were on the free agency market that they also didn't sign. You had Tyus Jones, who signed a minimum contract with the Phoenix Suns. The Lakers couldn't have got Tyus Jones on a minimum. Gary Trent, they didn't get Malik Beasley back. I mean, these are huge free agents that they missed out on for cheap. I mean, these guys didn't sign for that much, and the Lakers didn't really sign anybody. I think it's also interesting to look at the Lakers' past, and we've seen them turn their maybe not so favorable assets into interesting pieces. We saw it with Russell Westbrook, who was not good for the Lakers, and they ended up trading him and getting back D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley at the deadline, and going on a huge run and getting to the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers have shown that they can, turn bad assets into good players. This offseason, it seems like they were much more focused on, hiring a new head coach. They got JJ Redick, who has never coached professional basketball in his entire life. That's a huge deal for a team that's going for a championship with LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the team. I know they were targeting the UConn coach, Dan Hurley, but even if they got Dan Hurley, I think I'd still have, some question marks about a coach that's never coached in the NBA. Obviously, he has more experience than JJ Redick, and I would like the signing a lot more. But the JJ Redick hiring, by the way, I don't hate if you're trying to rebuild. If you're trying to look to the future, get a nice young coach in, let him, grow with your young guys. But you have LeBron James on your team who's almost 40 years old. You have Anthony Davis, who's no longer a young player. You have a bunch of vets like D'Angelo Russell and Jared Vanderbilt and Rui Hachimura. At this point, I would consider a vet. He's been in the league for, it seems like, a long time now, even though he's not that old. And they're just a team that doesn't have a lot of interesting young assets. So the JJ Redick hiring was just puzzling, to say the least. And I look at other teams that are in similar positions that are maybe have an older core and don't have a lot of cap space. And a team like the Phoenix Suns kind of stands out to me, right? You look at their offseason, and it is way better than Lakers. I mean, it's not even close. They fired their head coach, but instead the Suns got probably the best free agent head coach on the market of Mike Budenholzer, a championship level coach, and the Lakers got a first time head coach. The Lakers couldn't get Mike Budenholzer? Obviously, I don't know if Mike Budenholzer is going to be a huge deal for the Suns, but he was absolutely the best coach on the market. And the coaching market was bad this year. That's why you saw guys like JJ Redick get hired. As a Lakers, I would try to go after a Monty Williams, who I know struggled in Detroit, but we've seen Monty in Phoenix and how he could take a team to the championship, maybe not win, but he can take them there. Go get Frank Vogel back, who you won a championship with. It never made sense that you fired him. Go get him back. I mean, there's plenty of options. There's plenty of assistants. I mean, I know they were even targeting James Borrego. James Borrego would have been a way better hire. I actually would much rather James Borrego, who's the assistant coach of the Pelicans, I believe. Look what else the Suns did. They got Tyus Jones. They re-signed Royce O'Neal. They added interesting vets like Mason Plumlee, who I think would have been better than Jackson Hayes. The Suns did miles better than the Lakers, and they're in a similar position. The Lakers didn't sign anybody. I literally cannot name one person the Lakers signed this year. It was terrible. So this is where I look at it. Where do you go from here? And I think the clear direction is a rebuild. And I think the Lakers have enough assets where you could kind of do the whole farewell tour with LeBron James and build the young assets you have and trade your vets like Anthony Davis, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, maybe Austin Reeves, whoever you want. Austin Reeves is still young, so I'm not opposed to having him in the rebuild, but he's not, 19. There's a way to get interesting young assets, and we saw the Lakers do that in the past, where they got Alonzo Ball, a Brandon Ingram, they drafted D'Angelo Russell at first, they had Zubac and Caruso, and they were able to get Josh Hart. They were able to get very interesting young players on their team very quickly and kind of reshaped how we saw the Lakers, and they were able to land LeBron James at free agency and trade for Anthony Davis, and right then and there they were back in the championship picture. Don't wait for LeBron James to retire, because at this point, if you want to win a championship, then you got to buy in. Because they didn't buy in this offseason. They didn't sign anybody. They didn't make any blockbuster trades. So where are you at? You're just like in the play-in position with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Why? You know, I didn't mind their draft. Dalton Knecht fell in the draft, so they got a very valuable pick of him, who is very NBA ready. But I'm not opposed to having NBA ready guys in a rebuild. Like I don't know why teams are opposed to that. I think Dalton Knecht would be fine in a rebuild. I think he has interesting offensive upside. I think he could be better than just a role player, like maybe he's advertised as. Bronny James, you know, he hasn't shown great stuff in Summer League, but I still think there's maybe a future for him, at the very least as like a rotational guard. Overall, you have 3 options as the Lakers front office. One, you can maximize on the guys you have now, which is LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, and you can try to get pieces to put around your big 2 of LeBron and Anthony Davis, right? That's the first thing you can do, which you have to do now, right? You can't wait. How many years is LeBron James going to be at this level? You have 2 top 10 guys on your roster. You have to get like a third, maybe even a 4th guy. Maybe take a shot on the Zach LaVine. Maybe try to pull off the Lauri Markkanen trade. Maybe go try to get a Brandon Ingram back. Like, there is options. It's a lot more scarce than it was at the start of free agency or even at the trade deadline last year. But there's ways, you know, to get there. Your second option is stay pat, right? Is to just keep your roster. Hope that maybe Austin Reeves takes a leap, or Dalton Knecht's better than you thought, or, you know, I don't know, D'Angelo Russell looks like Nets D'Lo, and maybe you can go on a magical run and win the championship. But that's probably the worst option. Or the third option, which I think is the best option, is you maximize on your young guys and you maximize on JJ Redick's coaching potential, and you look towards the future. And that means trading Anthony Davis for assets, which I think you could pull off. It means trading D'Lo for assets, and Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt, like I said. And maybe even trading LeBron James. Okay, guys, it's time to let me know. Am I delusional? Are the Lakers fine? Are they going to win the championship? Or do you agree with me? Is it time for the Lakers to look towards a rebuild? I don't know. Let me know.